What as a fact you know that almost everyone is wrong about? I see posts in r/popular all the time that misidentify sea lions as seals. It's fairly easy to tell the difference if you see how they move on land. Sea lions can tuck their back flipper under them and walk on it, while seals are tubes and have to bounce/shuffle along on land. Migraines aren't just a really bad headache. Headache is one of the 4 possible stages of migraine. You can have migraine symptoms without your head hurting. Here's a good picture. Although note that not all migraines hit all 4 stages. https://21710 smushcom/1383811 what content/upload/2018/04/amphtamiliniarfmigraine_800x800 jpg LOSSY equals 1 and SGRIP equals 1 and WEBP equals 1. The myth of Narcissus. Most people think of it as he has fallen in love with himself, missing the distinction and nuance that he falls in love with the image of himself. This is important. If you run into any narcissist, you will notice the image they have of themselves is quite different from who they actually are. Those that can't do, teach is a mockery of a quote by Aristotle. Those that know, do. Those that understand, teach. There is not just fight or flight response, but also a freeze response. The muscles tense and the body goes very still. This explains why some people are paraloid with fear and freeze instead of running or fighting back. It is very helpful for camouflage and hiding from predators with poor eyesight. It does not work so well when standing in front of a speeding truck. Diamonds are not the most valuable ore. $2,000, $25,000 per carat. That crown goes to jadeite. $3 million per carat. Edit, where I got my info. http www.kings1912.com/blog/2012/08/top 5 most valuable gemstones/ relevant for tax season. It confounds me how many people don't know how marginal tax rates work. It's not a flat percentage of income based on which bracket you're in. It's tiered in steps, where each bracket is taxed individually. Let's review the math. In tax year 2019, the new tax brackets are as follows. For ease of math, let's assume you are a single, unmarried individual. $0 to $9,699 isn't taxed. $9,700 to $39,700 is taxed at 12%. If you make $39,700 or higher, the total income tax paid in this bracket is $3,572.88. Final numbers get rounded, but we'll get to that. $39,700 to $84,199 is taxed at 22%. Now just to give you a little comparison point, let's suppose that as a single individual you will make exactly $39,701 in 2019. Most people believe that this entire amount will get taxed at 22%, making you pay $8,734 in income tax. In reality, you only get taxed on those couple dollars that are in the 22% bracket. I'll split the math up down below for formatting purposes. The real calculation we already showed above, that $9,700 to $39,474 is taxed at 12%. So the income tax in that tier is $3,572.88. So $3,572.88 plus $39,701, $39,700, 22 equals a whopping $3,573 rounded down to the nearest dollar. In case you missed the math, you only got taxed at the 22% bracket on that single dollar that bumped you over. The insane misunderstanding of this system leads to people turning down raises because they think they're actually losing money by getting bumped into the next tax bracket. Also, if you get a huge refund this year, that's not something to be excited about. You are effectively loaning the government your money at 0%. If you enjoy this method as a sort of forced savings account, it's an incredibly inefficient way of budget. Set up auto withdrawals to a high interest savings account. Or better yet, a tax advantaged retirement account to automate your savings and you'll never miss the money. Anastasia is not a Disney movie, and she is not a Disney princess. Most people say that trees are good against climate change. They think trees will receive all the CO2, but actually we have to thank phytoplankton for making 80% of our oxygen, and for receiving CO2. Beer won't skunk if you let it get warm after getting cold. It's all about light exposure. Edit. Thank you to everyone who was able to better refine the statement that I made. It should be noted that extreme and extended changes in temperature will in fact affect the flavor of a beer. Porcupines can't throw their quills. Not sure if it's for most people, but the people I've come across had this wrong almost always. Canberra is the capital city of Australia, not Sydney. Water isn't actually conductive. It's the impurities in the water that allows it to conduct electricity. Edit. For those that are commenting that it can conduct electricity albeit not very well, I'm aware, but it conducts so very poorly that it is essentially negligible. So for simplicity's sake, it's easy enough to say it doesn't conduct electricity. Seriously, please like and subscribe, and comment something nice for your favorite Reddit slave. Mary Antoinette never said "I'll eat the meat cake." The first written account of this story is from 1767 and Osno would attribute the quote to her. She would have been 12 at the time, and would go on to marry Louis XVI 3 years after this quote was initially published. Singers, almost universally, have a consistent tendency to sing slightly flat, not sharp. It's due primarily to lack of proper breath support, and not because they have a tin ear for music. Being schizophrenic does not mean you have multiple personalities. Long Island iced teas do not have iced tea in them. Your hair and nails don't actually keep growing after you die. Your body just loses moisture and fluids, making your body dehydrate and shrink up. This gives the illusion that your fingernails and hair appear longer. The Mayans didn't disappear or go extinct. They still live in Central America and speak at least 24 different Mayan languages. The last Mayan city didn't fall to Spanish conquest until 1697. Leaning your head back is actually worse for a nosebleed. Ostriches don't bury their heads in the ground. Picture a hymen. If you're thinking of a sort of sheet or membrane that covers the vagina and is popped by intercourse, you're wrong. It's actually a thin piece of tissue that only partly covers the entrance to your vagina. There are some cases where it does completely cover it. This is known as an imperforate hymen. Can cause some not insignificant health issues and is very rare. Close bracket. It doesn't always hurt when it breaks. It's as likely to be broken by accident long before you have sex as it is to be pristine when you do, and sometimes it just disappears by itself without breaking. Either way, despite the idea that it's some sort of foolproof virginity test, whatever you define virginity as. Anyway, it's still a pretty vague concept. It leaves a lot to be desired. While serving on an airfield, I remember telling an aviation friend that there was a plane coming in about an hour from them. He said that was impossible because the tower is closed. I explained to him that flights come in all the time when the towers are closed. Even commercial jets are constantly landing without the tower being open. He absolutely blew up. Said I didn't know what I was talking about, and that planes would crash all the time if that were the case. How could planes land without a tower? That just makes no sense. I even got my superior officer on the phone the next day to explain it, and he still wouldn't believe it. I had 3 other people under me explain it to him, and he still wouldn't believe it. I told him, dude, it's really simple to prove the tower hours are posted. Check the last time a flight lands for the night, and I guarantee it will be after that time. He did. It was. And yet he still refused to believe me. The sad fact is, people would probably riot if they found this out, because they'd think it was horribly dangerous, but it's been standard operating procedure for decades now and no one has even noticed. It hasn't caused a single crash. Believe it or not, it's actually safer to come in after hours because of the reduced traffic. This is not something that needs fixing. It's a very logical move. But I'll bet there are even people reading this that won't believe it. Unless you work in aviation. You probably don't know any of this. If you do not have a will, your spouse does not necessarily get your stuff, but the state does not take it all. Either you do not have to pay gift taxes. If you make a gift of over $15k, you just have to file a gift tax return. Revocable trusts do not change the taxation of your estate. Guess what I do for a living, lol. Edit. Wow. This sure blew up. Here I thought I was making a rather snarky off the cuff comment and oh well. I guess I had better respond. I am an estate lawyer in the US. Those of you who criticize me for not noting that my comment was only applicable to my own jurisdiction are absolutely correct. I apologize, although I think a few of you went a bit overboard with the insults. This is Reddit. People. To those of you who met me wanting to know how to plan their estates and avoid taxes, please see an estate lawyer in your jurisdiction. I will expand on the issues I brought up. Please note, none of this creates a lawyer-client relationship. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. And all of this is extremely simplified. Regarding what happens if you die without a will, here's the general rule in the US. Wills govern assets that you own in your individual name and that do not have a beneficiary designation or similar arrangement attached. If you do not have a will, the state of your domicile essentially writes one for you under a law called the intestacy law. Dying without a will is referred to as dying intestate. Intestacy laws vary from state to state and operate by looking at what family members have survived you. In many states including mine, if you are married and have children, your spouse gets part of the estate, usually half, and the children split the rest. This is an oversimplification. The point is that you need a will. And no, it is not enough to conclude that you own everything in joint names with your spouse and have beneficiary designations on everything. If you and your spouse die together, or your spouse dies and you do not get a chance to make a will before you go, that will most likely result in an intestacy. Regarding gift tax, that is part of the federal estate and gift tax. There is a large exemption from that tax. Currently 11.6 million. That applies to gifts in excess of an annual exclusion. Currently 15k per donee per year. If you make gifts in excess of that exclusion, you have to report that to the IRS so they can deduct the gift from your exemption when you die. But if you die with less than the applicable exemption amount, you never have to pay any estate/gift tax. States often have their own death taxes too. Go, this only applies to the federal tax. Funded revocable trusts avoid probate, which is the process by which the instructions in a will are carried out. The benefit of avoiding that process by use of a revocable trust is that you save the cost of probate. It is more private, and in some cases the process can go more quickly. But these trusts do not provide creditor protection or save taxes and cost more than wills to set up. I really did not mean for this to get so much attention, but I hope it was helpful. Edit #2. Thanks for the gold and silver awards.